Hello, I welcome you to the third presentation on this website. It's about my research. So before I have already presented to you some of the framing concepts and contexts that are important for my research project. And I hope after the short translation course I gave you before, it's more easy to understand what I'm actually doing. So the title of the website is Fostering Pedagogical Professionalization Through Higher Education. So this is a broad title of my research project. I hope you will find out more in this short presentation that follows now. So as I said in my other presentation, we have in Germany the observation that regular degree courses that are free of charge are often used as an individual further training. So people are choosing these studies really to develop further, because we have some kind of individualization in society, namely that biography is becoming more and more different and people start their studies at an older age with life and job experience as well. But on the other hand, of course, we have changes in the job market, so that job positions becoming insecure, and also the demands in your jobs are becoming more and more complex. So this is in general to see that there's a high demand for further training, further education, also in the academic context. But there's somewhat special about Germany, I would say, namely the regulations for fees in higher education. So we have study programs or degree programs that are free of charge. These are the regular degree programs, and those who are charged sometimes high fees and which are specialized really for experienced people with job and life experience and their demands in learning as well. So situation one, so becoming more concrete right now. So regular degree programs in pedagogy or education, I have to say, that's actually my own starting point. So I've studied the bachelor and master of Arts Erziehungswissenschaften, so educational sciences. It was a regular course at university. So this is my background, and actually that's also my context now. So I'm a lecturer in such a degree program at Fernuniversität in Hagen. It's the Bachelor Bildungswissenschaft. So this is, so to say, also my individual starting point of my research. So also these degree courses somewhat address a target group, which is not really explained, but you can see that somewhat in the study programs I will show you later. But on the other hand, we have the actual students. So what's the general observation here? We see that these two groups are not really matching. So the course is addressing some kind of people, but on the other hand, we have the people who are there in these study programs. So actually, I don't know much about them, so I have question marks. It's a question, who studies here and why? So I already have some thoughts in mind, because I know my students, I know what they're doing, I know their life experience, and also maybe their reasons why they come here or in other comparable degree programs. But somewhat, it's pretty unclear. So if you're looking at statistics and surveys, we don't know much about this group of people actually. So I'm especially interested in people with practical experiences in the field of pedagogy or education, so with job experience on the one hand, and on the other hand, also those who really chose these degree programs for further development, especially with respect to professionalization. Yeah, so I'm observing that actually these study programs, which are not really specified for job experienced people, are some kind of professionalization, for the people studying it. And that's what I find interesting and I want to research upon. So situation two, these regular degree courses or programs in pedagogy, for me it's the bachelor actually, where I'm teaching, so this is my research focus. Well, they're conceptualized as a general and subject-specific vocational qualification. Namely, they should prepare really for the job market. They're seen as a vocational training if you're looking at the documents and also the framing qualification framework. So in general, they have general and subject-specific academic content. So they're not really job-related. They're not really practical. If you're looking at the programs and the content, so we have different subjects like philosophies, sociology, and other subjects which you have to study when studying educational sciences. On the other side, we have the actual students, as I said. So they chose these programs really with also some job-related motivation, namely I want to develop further, maybe I want to change my career. And some of them also have practical experience, so they have been working in these fields before they started to study. So actually we have some kind of tension between the two sides, and I want to know what's learning actually in this context. So on the one side, the theoretical input and very abstract, very far away from practice, and on the other side, the experience of the people and their learning desires. So to span up again, so the research focus, as I said, is on the right side. Yeah, really the people with these interests and this background and learning outcomes. So in a very general frame, I would say my research focus is really what's the role of pedagogical degree programs in context of pedagogical professionalization. This is the heading topic, so to say. On the one hand, namely asking, okay, to what extent are these programs used as an individual professionalization from the learner's perspective, and on the other side, really looking like what is really happening, so what's the learning outcome, so to say. With respect to the theoretical framework, so I have different approaches I use for different aspects. On the one hand, asking really, okay, who is an experienced student? So how do I really grasp this idea? Well, there I'm referring to concept of pedagogical practice, namely that go beyond classic job positions. So also looking at people volunteering, for example, people who are not having standard job positions, but they do have job experience or really practical experience in the field of pedagogical tasks and educational tasks. So I see them in my studies. And second, I also chose the aspect of this concept is called demarcation of the pedagogical practice. In German, it's Entgrenzung des Pädagogischen. So this sheds a light really that many job positions and many tasks actually have some kind of pedagogical or educational tasks in them. Yeah, and I see this, and I think it's really interesting. So we have just also manufacturers, for example, people working in different fields where you would never say that they're educational practitioners, but they do have these tasks, yeah, in their jobs. So that's what I want to show and what to find out about. So second, with respect to the courses I'm investigating, here the concept of pedagogical professionalization is really interesting because when these programs were established, we had that research focus really on academically founded professional knowledge, so really highlighting what do we learn when studying something, or how far does that influence our professionalization. Yeah, so these concepts are important for me. And third, the aspect of learning in higher education, here I become more international actually, because reflective learning is actually a concept that is not so widespread in Germany, but I think it's really, really important if you're looking at learning in higher education in detail. So here I'm referring, for example, to Eva Chendon, who's also my chief and also my observer in my doctoral dissertation, who has researched on that and also on the concept of development of becoming a critical being in higher education. So this is by Ronald Barnett. I think it's really important to look at that because it integrates two sides, namely the aspect of Bildung and professionalization. So I wrote about that in my research papers if you want to find out. I think that's a great concept for my research. Methodology, how will I investigate actually? So I already chose a sample of degree programs I want to investigate. Those 16 degree programs in pedagogy in Germany are comparable to my study program where I'm lecturing. So that was, so to say, the choice. And with respect to the actual students, so I'm investigating who studies these programs. I'm focusing on their experience and their motivation to choose these study programs. And of course, the aspect of learning. So you see the questions below. Here I'm preparing a survey with the students of these study programs, namely asking who are they, where do they come from, what is their motivation. And as you see, there's a sum. Also, the gray box is somewhat also a little bit touched. So I also want to ask about learning experience in their studies, also in the survey, but it's not the main focus. It's rather preparing, namely the following interview survey with the students, which is far more in depth, really asking about their development, about their personal, professional development, about their learnings in studies. And here it's really important to have a qualitative approach, because you have to come into talking and thinking really, and take some time for that. So what are the goals? So the goals from an international perspective are a little bit different than the German I had in my German presentation. So on one hand, we have the context and concepts, and the subject-specific aspects, which are related to my theoretical framework and the research context I'm in. So I want to make visible the students' experiences, to show really who are they, because they are not really visible at this point of time, as I see. And also to contribute on research on pedagogical professionalization, because I see that the German discussion is really like theoretical or normative even, and I want to give some empirical proof for that as well. Or to be more general and international, I actually want to contribute to the research on learning, or especially reflective learning in higher education. So I think there could be some nice points to make actually. And the foundation is actually theory and practice, so not only with respect to my research, which interrelates theory and studies and practice in work, so to say, but also with respect to my goals. So I want to contribute to theory as well, as you see, but also to practice, because when you know who studies here and what are their experiences, their goals, the learning outcomes, then you can better design a program that is more appropriate for them. So even in the regular degree courses, so that's one aspect I'm really interested in. So I'm looking forward to everything that follows on this website and on the blog. So I hope that it will give you soon some updates, maybe another publication, maybe some updates about my research, and I hope you stay tuned. Bye.